I, 34 female, have always been someone who needed a lot of reassurance and attention. I never thought of it as a problem, just part of my personality. I grew up in a house where affection was transactional. My mom was loving when I was impressive and cold or dismissive when I wasn't. I guess I learned early to chase approval. That never really stopped. It just changed forms over the years. I've struggled with impulse control since I was a teenager. It started with lying, then sneaking around, then impulsive relationships, sex, and eventually cheating. I hate calling myself a serial cheater, but I've heard it enough to know it fits. I've cheated in every relationship I've ever had. I used to tell myself I just wasn't meant for monogamy, but that was a lie I clung to, because the truth is uglier. I was trying to patch a hole inside me that never stayed full. My most recent relationship lasted over 7 years. He, let's call him M, was the only person who ever made me feel truly safe. We met at a concert, and for the first year or so, it felt like something out of a dream. I felt seen in a way I didn't think I deserved. He was quiet, grounded, funny in a dry way. I don't know what he saw in me, but he said I brought light into his life. I clung to that like it would save me. We moved in together after 2 years. He proposed at 5. Our wedding was supposed to be this fall. I was unfaithful twice during our relationship. Once in the second year, when we were going through a rough patch, and I justified it by telling myself that I was being neglected. The second time was what ended us. This one was more than a hookup. It lasted almost 3 months. It was with someone I met through a creative workshop. I connected with AP emotionally before anything physical ever happened. When D-Day hit, it ended my life as I knew it. M had suspected something for a few weeks. I'd become distant, moody, and irritable. I thought I was erasing all my tracks. Turned out I wasn't. He saw a message pop up on my iPad while I was in the shower. One of those stupid flirty texts that's vague enough to create doubt but pointed enough to make your stomach turn. He waited until I got out, sat me down, and asked me what was going on. I couldn't lie at that moment. I couldn't even stop myself. I just spilled him everything. And I mean everything. The emotional buildup, the first time we slept together, how often, where. I don't know why I thought full honesty would help, but maybe part of me hoped that if I laid it bare, he'd see it as a cry for help. He didn't. He looked at me like I was a stinky pile of dog shit that he had found on his doorstep. What broke me was when he called me the rabbit hole he fell down, said he had given me everything, his trust, his love, his loyalty, and I still needed more. That nothing he did was ever going to be enough for me, and maybe it was time I stopped pretending it could be. The following week was surreal. He didn't block me, but he didn't speak to me either. I texted every day, sent voice notes, even wrote a long email about my childhood, my history of sexual abuse at hand, of my stepfathers, which I'd never fully unpacked with him, my therapy journey, my shame. I got a single reply. I don't want to be cruel, but I can't unsee what I saw, and I don't think you can come back from it. He moved out 2 days later. I feel so alone, so pathetic. Even after I laid my entire soul bare for him, this is his response? I don't know what to feel anymore. I feel so alone in my struggles. Update. We've had 2 phone calls since he left, both times initiated by me. The first was logistical. He needed to know when he could pick up the last of his stuff. I was hoping he'd want to talk. I desperately needed him to talk, but he hung up soon after I said the date and time. The second was because I begged for a chance to talk. He agreed. Said we could talk, but only if I respected his boundaries. I tried my best. I didn't beg. I told him what I'd been doing since he left. Therapy twice a week, running every morning to clear my head, started a 12-step essay group. I told him I wasn't calling to guilt or win him back, but to thank him for everything he did for me and to own how deeply I hurt him. He listened quietly. Then he said something that gutted me. You've always been good at saying the right things. I just don't believe you mean them anymore. I didn't know what to say. That call ended after 15 minutes. Since then, I've been sitting with the fact that he doesn't trust me anymore, even when I've been putting in so much work, that he might never again. I miss the old him who wouldn't question about my whereabouts, who didn't snoop through my phone, and who didn't look at me with suspicion. I get why he's being like this. I think the scariest part is realizing that, for the first time, I don't have an excuse. I knew what I was doing. I knew the consequences, but I didn't spare a second to think of them thoroughly. I've been reading old texts between us, looking at photos, trying to remember what it felt like to be loved by someone who trusted me. I miss him every day, but I also know that this can't be about just getting him back. I have to finally deal with what's underneath all of this. Final update. He still responds to texts, but only when I keep them practical or neutral. The warmth is gone. I don't know how to explain it except to say it feels like I'm texting a former coworker, not someone I used to fall asleep beside every night. I'm doing the work. I mean it this time. I've gone through withdrawal before, cutting people off, detoxing the attention. But this time feels different. This time I'm not just crying because someone's mad at me or I got caught. I'm grieving because I see it now, the impact, the pain I caused, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to fix it. My therapist said something last week that stuck. You keep chasing love like it's medicine, but love isn't a cure for the wound. It only covers it. That hit hard, because she's right. I made him my whole sense of worth. When I started feeling undeserving of his love, I spiraled. I felt ashamed, and instead of reaching out, I disconnected. I sought validation from someone else and convinced myself it was harmless, that M would never find out, that if he didn't know, it didn't hurt him. Except it did. It hollowed out the trust between us. And now that hollow space is all I can feel. And honestly, he should be done. He deserves better. He deserves someone who won't need constant convincing that they're lovable. Someone who doesn't leave emotional damage in their wake. I still love him, but I think I'm starting to understand that loving someone isn't the same as being capable of loving them well. I've spent most of my life swinging between extremes, either in a relationship or desperately chasing one, either overworking or completely shutting down. I don't know who I am when I'm not performing for someone else's approval, but I'm trying to figure it out. And I don't know if I'll ever be a person who deserves another chance with him, but maybe I can at least become someone who wouldn't do this again. Someone my future children can grow up seeing as whole, not hollow. There's a long road ahead, but I'm finally walking it. Not sprinting or trying to skip steps, just walking. Comments as someone who's also dealt with SA and used relationships to fill that void. I see you. It's not easy to separate our trauma from the harm we've caused, but it's necessary. Just know healing doesn't mean trying to win anyone back. It means becoming someone you trust to do better next time. Let this loss change you in the way you were always meant to change. You sound like you're finally confronting the core issues rather than just reacting to the fallout. That's not easy. I relate a lot to the part about chasing love like medicine. I've done the same. It's terrifying to realize how much damage we cause trying to soothe a wound that someone else didn't create. Keep going. The road is long, but it sounds like you're actually on it now.